All right, greetings, class, and welcome to week number 9. That is right, week number 9 of your 7314 class, which is your reference class. As always, I'm your professor, Dr. J.S.K. Austin. And this week, what we will have is another state of the course update. And then after we have our state of the course update, I'm going to tell you about two databases that you can use for, I would call them persuasive assignments. A lot of times, the college freshmen certainly have these types of assignments. Well, college undergrads have like persuasive speeches or persuasive essays that they have to write. But you'll find these things at the high school level as well. So this can be useful for people who are going into K-12 libraries or public libraries or academic libraries. Public libraries even, because a lot of times you will have students who need help from the library. A lot of times they go to the public library as opposed to their school library. So either or, you do, of course, and that's not meant to minimize school librarians in any way, because school libraries, frankly, that's the type of library, the major type of library that I have not worked at ever. And I will say that there are unique challenges for school librarians, and especially in these days of time. And so I am very respectful and appreciative of what school librarians do. But yes, K-12 librarians, they should be able to get a little something out of this check-in video, as well as those of you who, again, are going into academic or public. So let's first get into the state of the course update. So state of the course updates, the big thing for you all to know is that you do have your Wikipedia edit assignments coming due very, very soon. They are due this coming Sunday night. And yes, and make sure, so there were a few of you, not as many as in other classes previously, and I appreciate that. But there were a few of you who, again, made the APA mistakes that people commonly make. And so I did deduct points from the virtual reference assignment based on those APA mistakes. Please correct your APA for Wikipedia, for the Wikipedia edit assignment. And this is not about, this really isn't about me being a picky grader. I've been criticized as being a picky grader because of the, because I'm trying to get the students to do their APA correctly, but there's some things that you all need to know. And I've been in this field now for 17 years, so I need you all to understand that I've seen some things and there's some things that I know. So for one thing, for those of you who want to be catalogers or archivists, you do have to have a very detail-oriented eye. You just do. And so when I am trying to actually have you all clean up your execution of your APA, part of that is to train your eye to get more detailed. And because very small mistakes with capitalization or with punctuation, particularly with cataloging, can really throw your cataloging work off. And so you do have to have that detail orientation. And archivists as well have to have a high level of detail orientation, especially if they're like coding in EAD or anything like that, encoded archival description, encoded archival description, EAD. So yes, those are things that I want you all to understand. And then also, just quite frankly, if you go into an academic library, or if you publish, you are going to be expected to know what you're doing with your citation. For those of you who publish, and you will definitely publish if you work in an academic library, but you'll probably publish a little bit if you work in a public library too. And if you're publishing or presenting and you're citing stuff wrong, the editors of whatever you're trying to submit to are going to keep bouncing that stuff back to you. So this is not about me being picky and nitpicky and being a jerk. You know, I will say that I think that there are times when some students are used to being challenged in their school systems and some are not. And it's okay if, because you can't help where you went to school, right? So it's okay if you're not used to being challenged. But yes, there are some of you, I can tell from my student evaluations every semester, there's some students who are used to being held accountable in school. And then there are students who have been kind of pushed through school and babied, and they're not used to being held accountable. This is, for most people, I would say that I'm not the toughest teacher that they've had. By far, they've had much harder than me. But if you've been in situations where your school doesn't really force you to learn things or else there's a penalty, then yes, I can come off as somebody who's a bit of a taskmaster. It is what it is. Please know that what I do for your own good. And that's the only thing that I can say. If you don't believe it, it is what it is. But yes, get your APA fixed for the Wikipedia edit assignment for those of you who lost points for that. And then you, the next thing that you'll have that's a deliverable will not be until April the 3rd. And that will be your response to discussion prompt 6. So spring break is coming up. Spring break, I believe, is it's that last. It's coming up. So I believe it's that last week of March, though. But regardless, you all will know when spring break is coming because students always do. But yeah, this discussion board prompt is not due until after spring break is over. So April 3rd will be after spring break. Okay. So you have that. I will be creating your LibApps logins. One thing that you will have coming due in April is going to be your LibGuide assignment. That's going to be due on April the 16th. So in a little more than a month. And you are going to need LibApps logins in order to complete that assignment. So I'll be getting your LibApps logins to you this week. Be on the lookout for emails for that. And I apologize that they didn't come. I was hoping to possibly make them a little earlier, but just things keep coming up and it just is what it is. But still a month is going to be plenty of time to work on that assignment. And if I need to, I will extend it a week or two. But for right now, I would just say go ahead and be on the lookout for that email. And in the meantime, you can go ahead and start looking at resources for LibGuides. Okay. So like when I say you can start looking for resources for LibGuides, you can go ahead and just Google best LibGuide practices, Google LibGuide tutorials, Google those sorts of things if you want to kind of get a head start or kind of get yourself conditioned. And that is what librarianship work is. It's discovery. When you all are doing library work, you're going to be tasked with discovering things for yourself and for other people. And so this is part of that discovery process is when you are tasked with creating a LibGuide, there is a chance that a coworker is going to start you off by showing you the basics of creating a LibGuide, but they're going to actually expect you to research and find tutorials and that sort of thing on your own so that you can perfect your LibGuide building. Now, one thing I do want to say really quickly, and then I'll move on from this, I am not expecting you to actually create a professional level LibGuide, okay? And I'll talk more about that later, but you are students and I respect that. The last thing that I'm going to say as far as state of the course updates is keep working on those, keep working on those semester-long projects. You're going to be just fine as long as you've been working on those throughout the semester, okay? And that is pretty much it. Let's go ahead and talk about these databases, these two databases, CQ Researcher and Opposing Viewpoints and Contexts, that can be used to help you help a student who is trying to write a persuasive speech, okay? And these are also good databases for people looking for information on current events and those sorts of things. So give me one moment, pause. Okay, so another quick reminder that when I talk about these databases, when I'm doing this, I'm giving you just sort of a superficial intro to the databases. I'm not really training you on the databases. This is not a tutorial, but I'm telling you from my own experience how they're used, why they're used, and those sorts of things, and giving you just that brief intro of what they can do. And from there, if you want to learn how to actually master the database, you kind of need to do that on your own. But again, that's discovery process like I was just talking about with the LibGuides. Same thing applies to these databases. You can find database tutorials and you can just go into these databases and start working on them. That is totally fine as well. Just start playing around with them, seeing what they do. And the more you play around with them, the more you'll see what they can and can't do and how to do various things within them. So reference is a discovery process. You got to learn that. Okay. Now, here is only one of the two databases that we're going to be talking about today is actually offered through Mizzou, and that's going to be the CQ Researcher, which you have right here. I'm going to use my local public library, which is Mid-Continent Public Library, to access opposing viewpoints and contexts. But a lot, I will say a lot of schools, a lot of colleges, not ours for some reason, but a lot of colleges do have opposing viewpoints, and a lot of public libraries have opposing viewpoints. It's a very widespread database, which is why it's actually kind of embarrassing to me that Mizzou doesn't have it, but it is what it is. You just make do with what you have, and a lot of times when it comes to working in academic libraries, there's no foul really in sometimes academic libraries will just refer patrons to the public library, but if you work at an academic library that allows you to pull up public library resources for your students to fill in gaps for which you don't have, that's perfectly fine and perfectly great. So let's take a look at these. We are going to go into CQ Researcher first and then opposing viewpoints, because opposing viewpoints is actually easier to navigate, and therefore I'm going to spend less time on it. But opposing viewpoints is a pretty cool database. If you're bored, opposing viewpoints is actually something you can go in and possibly just read something that you find interesting. So there's that. What I'm going to do is go ahead and log into CQ Researcher here. And when you log into CQ Researcher, you'll be brought to a page like this. And this will explain why CQ Researcher is so good for when you have controversial topics and you're trying to write like a persuasive essay or make a persuasive speech or something. So let's first do the Browse Topics option here. So we've got Browse Topics, and these are various topics that you will see that are like just basically hot button issues, or they house hot button issues, I should say. So let's talk about, actually education is always a good one. So once you actually go into a topic, you will get reports. Now you can also browse reports. You can do that here. But you can browse reports over here. If you find a topic and then select the topic, there will be reports within that topic. So this is definitely a hot button issue right now. If you've been paying attention, diversity issues, you can go into that. And then you will see these various, and what you can do is you can actually control this by date or by title. I'm going to go ahead and, whoa, I didn't want to do that, because those are the dates the other way around. All right, that's a little better. So what you can do, I believe, title in alphabetical, they default into titling alphabetically. But what you can do is you can change the date, the most recent, and that sort of thing. And so depths of despair. Woo. I'm not ready for that right now. Let's keep it a little lighter, just for the sake of this video right now. Let's talk about teaching about racism. That's lighter than depth of despair, but maybe not by much. Come on, let me in. All right, I'm going to pause this while it's doing this. Oh, okay. All right, so once you actually click on something, then you'll get a report. You get the full report, and the full report is long, but it includes all of these elements. So the full report includes your introduction, as you see here, your overview, pro and con. Outlook and pro and con are definitely some of the things that you are going to want to actually focus on if you're, again, dealing with people that are trying to write persuasive speeches. So I'm just going to go to the pro and con part here. And what happens is you actually get, and this is good, this is balance that you're not going to get this balance from CNN or from MSNBC or from Fox News or from OANN or whatever you say with that one. But you will get this balance here in this database. You will get a pro and you will get a con, and you will get just, a decent essay. All right, and the essay can help you add context to information that you're finding and everything. And the essay is for pro and con. Another thing that they do is get off. Okay, no. I am so frizzled and razzled today. All right. So, but yeah, you can kind of incorporate the arguments of if you're taking the pro and con side. You can incorporate those arguments into what you are putting together, and then also you will know the arguments that the other side is likely to employ, because you will see their you will see their arguments there. You will see probably a very good hand-selected essay that will be on the opposing side as well. So you've got all that. But what I really like about this database is you can cite the database, but then this database also Come on, baby. Take me to the full report. Okay, I'm going to pause again. Yeah, sorry that actually took 2 minutes for that thing to load. This isn't typical. I actually think it's my computer and not the database, so I don't want you all to be turned off from the database thinking that it's a slow database. I actually think that was my computer. But having said that, okay, we're back to the full report. And what I want to, the other thing that I think is really cool about this database and is very useful for students is, yes, you can cite the database, but then also you will see annotations, footnotes, and you will see them in the full report throughout the full report. And they're very easy to spot. Like you can see like these numbers in these little things, whatever they are. They're very easy to spot. As you're going through the report, you can spot them very quickly. So if you see information that you really think is going to be useful, you can actually, and you want to actually find the source that it came out of and read that source, all you have to do is click it and then go to footnotes and you'll be right there. Well, that wasn't a good example, but let's say you use this. So John McWhorter, let's get us back down there. All right, well, you see here that there's actually a link right to this source. A lot of times you will either find that link or if you don't have a link, you at least have a citation that you can follow up and use your library resources to actually find an article, and you can click it. And there you go. You are right there at the material that they cited, and then you can read that material. This is a very quick and easy way to build a bibliography or a reference page, and that is something that your students will love you for. Trust me, I have been there. So yes, this is one of the big things about using CQ Researcher is that it allows you to find very accurate and very relevant sources very, very quickly. You know, you see all of these little other things here. So you do have like maps and graphs, you have like that sort of data and everything. And then also you can browse reports. That can also be done. So you can browse reports by date. You can use an issue tracker, or you can browse pro and con sections by topic. So let's say you wanted to browse pro and con sections by topic, and let's say abortion is always a big issue, and that's another one of the things that's heating up right now. You see, these will have pro and con articles for all of these various things here. Okay, these various questions as they're calling them. So you can click one, and then you can get the two sides here, right there. Will abortion be banned nationwide? Let's definitely hope not, but we don't know. We just don't know at this point. I would hope not. This is, of course, a bit dated. This was, I believe that, oh, I don't know. Yeah, okay, let me not even go into all that. Issue tracker, you can use that. So if you have, like, again, we can go into abortion. And these are the various issues that are coming through in abortion. And then you can, some of these are going to go back and be really old. I wasn't even born yet when some of these came. But yes, and then you can also, you can browse hot topics or go to topics by date. All right, so this is the basics of CQ Researcher. It's a very neat resource, and I would recommend that you all just kind of play around with it and learn it a little bit. Let's go into opposing viewpoints in context, and this one I'm not going to spend as much time in. Okay, let's go. All right, so again, I am doing this through my local public library. Oh, all right, so let's get a little bit of that sweet opposing viewpoints in context action. Okay, so opposing viewpoints in context. When you get into this database, you will be treated to a page that looks kind of like this. There's not really much to do with this page. Go ahead and click into the advanced search. Actually, nah, let's do something else. I'm sorry, Dr. J's is all over the place. Okay, let's actually do this first because it's easier to learn that way, and then we'll do the advanced search. So again, this is something that can be used to find information on controversial topics and that sort of thing. So if you go to Browse Issues, you will actually get a list. You will get a long list of issues here. And these are, what is this? Oh, okay. So they didn't always have this thing where you could actually pull this drop-down menu and get them kind of categorized in this way. So that's pretty cool. But you have your issues here, right? And there are a lot of them, but these are your, hot button issues, and there you have all your classics. You have abortion, you have the death penalty, you have socialism and suicide and all these things. But you have some that are not necessarily the issues that people tend to think about when they talk about writing persuasive essays for school. So things like junk food, a lot of times you don't really come across that on that front, but it's a very important issue. But you'll see, and you'll see also, these are pretty neat. You get notifications for when things have been recently updated. So the digital currency has been updated. I'm sure you all have found out what, or have at least heard. I don't know the minutia myself, but you probably heard about what happened with like some of these cryptocurrencies and everything. People are in court and all of these things. Depression is another one that you got there. Weapons of mass destruction updated. Vaccines, of course, updated. So Puerto Rico is part of the United States. So there's probably a better way to actually write that. But yes, U.S. Puerto Rico relations. You have these various things. Medical marijuana, I like that one. You have these various issues. And so what you can do is, like, let's say that your issue is medical marijuana. Let's just go with it. All right, so medical marijuana. What you can do is, first, when you click a hot button issue on opposing viewpoints, the first thing you'll see is basically kind of basically an overview essay. I'm going to go back so you can see right there. So this is your overview essay, and the overview essay does give you a lot of good superficial information. It really introduces you to the topic. It's something that can be read by people of various grade levels. You've got your Lexile number there, content level, blah, blah, blah. And they're short. A lot of times they are fewer than 4,000 words. You've got 2,200 words in this case. So you've got your overview essay, and even your overview essay can be cited. And please do not use your sample citations. These are not necessarily going to be correct. I don't know what's going on with that one there, but yes, your sample citations aren't necessarily going to be correct. So that's another thing. Please don't just blindly use those. Oh, I don't think this was a feature earlier either. So you can actually change your overview essay. That's pretty cool. Yeah, you can change your overview essay and get something that's a little simpler. So this is a lower Lexile, so that means that it can be read from by somebody who's on a lower reading level. And yeah, so this one would be an easier one to read, but I can also go back to my higher Lexile one or go back to my overview page. And then when you go to your overview page, what you have is it'll break these out into various other resources. So this is also a very, very quick way to build up a bibliography. Is you basically got resources that they cataloged into medical marijuana, and they break them down by type, by source type. So you've got academic journals, you've got news articles. News is always going to be one of your primary ones. You will have magazine articles, but you will also have things like videos in some cases. We got, there's video. You got video, you've got audio, infographics, you've got viewpoint essays, which are very good. You can kind of take other people's points of views from the viewpoint essays and incorporate those, featured viewpoints, those sorts of things. And when you select one, like let's say we select academic journals, and you could have also just scrolled down, by the way. I could have done that, I just didn't. But if you scroll down, you'll see the various things. In fact, let's do that just so you can see what I'm talking about. So rather than just clicking on that, I can also just scroll down, and then I can go to academic journals from here and click this. And then what you have, they will be listed by relevance as the default, but you can change it to date or some other things. And you're going to have the full text right there in the database. And that's what's very, very helpful with this database. So limiting it to peer reviewed shouldn't take me down too much from 45, because most of these should be peer reviewed if they're coming from academic journals. It stayed the same. So yes, even when applying the peer reviewed filter, it keeps me at 45. But then what you do, you've got your title, your authors, your journal title, all right there, including your volume and issue information. You've got whether or not it's peer reviewed, and your full text is right there. So you do not have to go into Journal Finder or any of these other resources to find your full text. You've got your full text right there. And this is a long article. But you've got it all right there, 18,000 words. So yeah, this is something that came out of a peer-reviewed academic journal, Public Library of Science. Yes, so you've got it, bro. You've got it. You've got a lot of information here at your fingertips. Now, I will just very, very quickly just go to the advanced search now, just so you can see how that works. And let's say that your advanced search was, this does allow you to get sources across various, you saw how you had like browse issues earlier, and I selected that. This will allow you to find things across issues. So let's say that you have, let's say, book challenge, and then let's say you have library, and then you click search. Whoa, we don't want that. Okay, let's have challenge in library and see what happens. I was hoping for, oh, okay, just 2 in reference. I was like, oh no, just 2 results. No, this is all our results up here. So you've got a lot in news. You've got quite a few in magazines. You do have some in academic journals. And again, this is how you can kind of search across issues, is using that advanced search. But a lot of times students will be focused on one particular issue that you can find actually in the browse issues area. And if that's the case, you can just grab it. All right. So I hope you sped this up. Let's keep it under 30 minutes. I am Dr. Jace, and I am very tired. Pardon my tired face, but there's a lot going on for me and for all of you as well. We are all busy right now, and that is okay. Have a great one, and I will see you next week with a different, actually next week we will have our LibGuide video. All right. See you then.